All right, guys. This woman right here divorced her pastor ex-husband, right? She was a pastor for 12 years, leading ministry with this man, and then divorced him. And subsequently, she was rejected by the church and has a lot of church hurt behind that. But I want to share this video because I know that there's someone out there, married to a pastor or not, but someone out there that's a Christian woman that's going to divorce their husband and they're going to have to deal with finding a new church, a place where they belong. They're going to need people to walk through them with it. And I want to share this and we'll listen to what she went through. And then I'll give you guys some of my take afterwards.
Do you want to know what it's like to divorce a pastor? Pull up a chair. So, just to give you some context, I was married for 12 years to a pastor. We were in full-time ministry together the entire duration of our marriage. We have 2 boys from that relationship, and we're about 5 years post-divorce. Here we go. So, if you are not familiar with the Christian faith, divorce in the Christian faith is pretty taboo. Like, I love y'all, love you Christians, but y'all are a little judgmental, a lot judgmental. And I'm going to piss some people off. That's okay. It's okay. That's what TikTok's for. Some people use it as their diary. Why can't I? So anyways, there's stuff I'm about to share that I've never shared online. So when we were going through our divorce, I was head of children's ministry at our church. And I knew pretty much immediately that I would be taken out of the leadership position that I was in. And guess what? It happened to a T. It happened just like that. So a week or so before I left, I actually set up the schedule for 3 months so that I was not in the rotation, so that when I would be taken out of the leadership position that I was in for leaving my husband, it would not be disruptive to the children's ministry. Yeah, you're welcome. I thought of that beforehand. So considerate. It's just so considerate. And then there's so much I can say here, but I'm going to emphasize this one thing. When I left, not one person from the church reached out to me. Not one. I had my friends that I was like leaning into for support. But as far as the actual congregation, not one person. And this was a church, mind you, that we'd been serving at for 12 years. Not one reached out like, hey, are you okay? Hey, is there anything I can help with? You've been serving my family for the last 12 years. Literally lost your family because of it. Anything I can do for you? And that might sound selfish to you. Some of you are probably going to be triggered by that. But here's the deal. For all of the Christians out there who want to claim that they're high and mighty and are never going to go through a divorce, divorce is actually really common. And people go through divorce more often than you even realize. I think sometimes in the church, we can be like in a bubble and think that, oh, it's never going to happen to us. And that was unfortunately not my experience. And I'm not pro-divorce, just FYI. But if you have a couple, if you know a couple who is struggling in their marriage, which most people do, because marriage is not easy. I don't care who you are, but especially people in leadership, like in the church and stuff, reach out to them and be like, hey, you're human too. How you guys doing? And I'm not saying that to like boohoo. Like, I'm not saying that nobody reached out to me. I'm not saying that to boohoo, but I was shocked. And I had to work through my own bitterness and resentment towards Christians and God in general. Like, I had to find my faith again and really lean into why I believed what I believed. And the fact that, I'll be honest, I felt like I served the church for so many years. And then when I was in need, true, desperate need, nobody showed up for me like I had showed up for them. And that was so painful. I couldn't walk into a church for at least a year without being completely triggered by just the music, the service, the niceties, the people at the door shaking your hand. I'm like, okay, yeah, this isn't for me. I've since healed. It's like I said, it's been about 5 years and we go to church regularly now. I am a Christian. I am not your typical Christian. I ask all the hard questions and I typically press into people and try to read through the bullshit because people do go through hard stuff. And just because you go to a church and you're a Christian doesn't mean that you're perfect and you're not going through stuff. Like, that's stupid. So anyways, yeah, that's my story. And it really sucked being a pastor's wife because nobody from the church reached out. And I lost all of my community overnight. And I was used to pressing into the church for community, but now the church had become this like terribly triggery place for me. So I struggled to find my community again. And I grew a lot that year, like personally, like I had to because I felt completely isolated and alone. But I will tell you this, I have such a higher capacity for compassion and understanding because of that experience. Like if I can see the good, the silver lining, I grew so much and I found myself so much. And I really needed that growth because it's really helped me find and build my foundation and get my feet firmly planted. And if you follow me, you know that my ex-husband and I actually have a really good co-parenting relationship, and I'm very thankful for that. We have earned it. We have blood, sweat, and tears, worked really hard to get to where we're at, but it wasn't always like that. The first couple years, I really struggled with bitterness and resentment towards the church, and I felt extremely judged, and I felt like I walked around with the scarlet letter. Oh, that's the divorced pastor's wife, ex-wife. And the hard part was too getting connected to churches where nobody knew you because we knew everybody in ministry in our area. So I would walk into churches and be like, "Oh, wait a minute. I know your husband. Oh, yeah, we're not together anymore." Oh. And just the judgment constantly was really hard. But we've moved on. Everybody's moved on and we're in a much better place. Time really does heal. But damn, it was hard. It was really hard. And for the kids too. It was terrible for the kids. It was really hard for the kids. Okay, so that's it. I'm explaining my perspective from a Christian POV ex-pastor's wife, ex-wife of a pastor. If you have any other questions, feel free to answer them, or I can't talk. Feel free to ask them in the comments. I will gladly come back and make more videos. All right, have a good day, guys. Oh, and follow.
Clearly, this woman's been hurt greatly. She doesn't go into any detail whatsoever about why she was divorced. So I don't know, what the biblical grounds are. But a pastor is supposed to be above reproach, right? So that's why it's such a strong calling to be a pastor. That's why you can't self-appoint yourself as a pastor, because man, is it going to put a magnifying glass and a lens to your life, to the decisions you make. It's going to highlight the qualities that you should have or don't have, or that you do have. It's going to point all these things out. And it sucks because you can tell that this woman's bitter. Even though she says that she's moved on from it, she still shows signs of being bitter and hurt, and with good reason. Because church people can be very judgmental. They can be very critical over someone, and what they've been through. And the thing is about what I've learned is that Christians, when you tell them who you used to be, or when you show them what you've been through, they still identify you as that. So they'll identify me as a drug dealer, robber, womanizer. They'll look at me as all these things instead of seeing that I've been redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, right? And so when you're going through, I don't know how big this town that she's living in, but when you're going through church to church and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know your husband," and they're like, "Yeah, we're not married anymore, we're divorced," and then they get all condescending and judgmental and stuff like that, that can be hard, right? Because you just want to come and worship the Lord, right? And I'm not caping for this woman at all, because I don't know the grounds for their divorce, so I feel like they should have just worked it out. But that's just what the Bible says. But on top of that, though, I feel like with her, she's being pretty snide and snarky in this video. I feel like maybe, and I don't know the husband, I don't know his side of things. I just feel like she's living in a place of offense. And a lot of times people can make judgments of others. Oh, they're going to judge me, so I'm just going to live offended. I'm going to live guarded. I'm going to protect myself. I'm not going to let anybody in. I'm going to stay in this little safe bubble. I'm going to just go to church and get out, because that way then nobody can judge me. They can't offend me. They can't, say anything about my past. And at the end of the day, if Jesus forgives us, it doesn't matter what man says because people are human beings and they're going to hurt you. They're going to judge you. They're going to say mean things, even if they're Christians. People have this lens, this view of Christianity as if we're just all nice people and none of us are flawed. We have these perfect lives. And that's the problem when you want to hide behind, because I'm saved, my life is sweet. I'm never going to show you into my vulnerable moments. I'm never going to tell you if I'm struggling. I'm never going to let my guard down. I'm never going to talk to anybody about what I'm going through. Instead of owning those things and walking through the victory of it by the power of Jesus and then giving him the glory, right? We have this false sense that Christians don't struggle through anything. And I want to look up the divorce rate between Christians and people of the world. Okay, so we have some statistics right here on the screen. It says divorce rates are significantly based on how individuals practice their religion rather than simply their religious label. Couples who are actively and regularly involved in their faith, such as attending church weekly, have substantially lower divorce rates than the general population. Conversely, those who identify as a particular religion but do not actively practice it, sometimes called nominal Christians, may have divorce rates that are the same or as even higher than non-religious individuals. This places the importance on actually walking this out. Stop playing church. Don't just say that you're a Christian. When you say that you're a Christian, but you don't attend regularly, you live like the world does, you listen to secular music, you go to bars, you go to clubs, you party, on the weekends or whatever, and you're not worshiping the Lord, you're not praying, you're not reading the Bible, you're pretty much not saved, right? So you're just a Christian in name only, and therefore your divorce rate will be higher. Strong religious commitment. Individuals who are strongly committed to their faith have a lower risk of divorce, with some studies showing a risk of reduction of up to 50%. In regular church attendance, couples who attend religious services weekly are significantly less likely to divorce, sometimes as much as 47%. And higher marital satisfaction. Religious commitment is associated with higher marital satisfaction, stronger commitment to partners, and fewer negative interactions, which strengthens marriages against divorce. Similar to secular, the divorce rate for those who are Christian in name only but do not actively participate in their faith is comparable to that of the secular population. I don't even need to say any more on this matter, guys. This is the importance of taking your marriage covenant seriously. This is the importance of loving your wife like Christ loved the church. Because obviously, this pastor didn't love his wife the way that he should have. And that led for them to get divorced. And that led to her to have church hurt and place upon people a burden that they probably aren't capable to carry in the first place. People will hurt you. The church will hurt you. It's not impervious to hurt, just like the world isn't impervious to hurt, because you have a lot of people in church that are Christian in name only, just as well as you have people in the world that will walk around and say, oh, I'm saved, but they think that they get to heaven by being a good person. All these things matter, guys. And I know that we like to not want to place judgment on people. We don't want to place people in a box. We don't want to put labels on people. But this shows the significance of taking your walk with Christ seriously, guys. Actually doing the things that you're supposed to do. Loving your wife when she's unlovable, loving your husband when he's unlovable, loving difficult people when they're being difficult, right? And they say that there's no hate like church love, right? But that's some shenanigans that people just use to cope with BS that they've gone through. And at the end of the day, guys, you are accountable for the actions that you make. If you're going through something in your marriage where you're the cause of it, just cut it out. You know when the blame lies upon you. Take accountability. Stop being flaky. Stop mistreating the spouse that God gave you. And that's probably another issue. Is sometimes you guys are married to people that God never planned on you to be with, but now you're there. So you got to honor it. You got to do the best that you can to make a difficult situation work, right? And if there's biblical grounds for divorce, I'm not trying to get in the way of that. Do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, this story right here breaks my heart because this woman is clearly hurt, right? And who knows what the case for the divorce was? They do. I guess if I watched her channel, I could find more information out about it. But at the end of the day, this just puts a lens on Christianity and how we are supposed to love each other the best that we can so we don't fall into situations like this. What are you guys' thoughts about this? Let me know down below in the comment section and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, God bless.